Today, I'm taking an excerpt out of Zen Mind Beginner's Guide. And I wanted to find something that was about being here, and it's something that I've had to really focus on this week because there's been a lot of stuff going on. With all the kids' classes and a lot of parents coming in and people needing stuff and all that stuff. So it's been, for me, it's been a lot about just being present to what people need right here, right now. And I wanted to speak to them, the Marrow of Zen. It's one of the chapters in this book. I'm going to read little pieces of it and speak to it. So the Marrow of Zen, as in case my New Zealand accent is confusing anybody, it's like the stuff that's inside your bones, the marrow of Zen, the inside part of Zen. In the Zazen posture, your mind and body have great power to accept things as they are, whether agreeable or disagreeable. And I think that really points to being the whole the whole beauty of being able to be with what's here and now is, it doesn't matter whether it's agreeable or whether it's disagreeable, it's just what's here, right? So having that, being able to accept what's so, and then taking action depending on what's so, right? So rather than how we'd like it to be or how we want it to be or how we wish it was or anything like that, it's just what is, There's I don't know what it was, like 12 kids on the mats, there's lots of people upstairs, and the phone rings. It's like, whoa, okay, I guess the phone's ringing. That's great. Okay, so, and then it's just like being with that and being okay with that and dealing with what's here. So this next section, you might have heard Sifu talk about this before, because I know he's read this before, but in any case, I'm reading this bit. In our scriptures, which is some I can't even say this, I'm sorry, Samyuktagama Sutra, volume 33, it is said that there are 4 kinds of horses: excellent ones, good ones, poor ones, and bad ones. And the best horse will run slow and fast, right and left, at the driver's will before it sees the shadow of a whip. The second best will run as well as the first one does, just before the whip reaches its skin. And the third one will run when it feels pain on its body. The fourth will run after the pain penetrates to the marrow of its bones. You can imagine how difficult it is for the fourth one to learn how to run. And when we hear this story, almost all of us want to be the best horse. If it is impossible to be the best one, we want to be the second best. This is, I think, the usual understanding of this story and of Zen. You may think that when you sit in Zazen, you will find out whether you are one of the best horses or one of the worst ones. Here, however, there is a misunderstanding of Zen. If you think the aim of Zen practice is to train you to become one of the best horses, you will have a big problem. This is not the right understanding. If you practice Zen in the right way, it does not matter whether you are the best horse or the worst one. When you consider the mercy of Buddha, how do you think Buddha will feel about the 4 kinds of horses? He will have more sympathy for the worst one than for the best one. When you are determined to practice Zazen with the great mind of Buddha, you will find the worst horse is the most valuable one. In your very imperfections, you will find the basis for your firm, way-seeking mind. Those who can sit perfectly physically usually take more time to obtain the true way of Zen, the actual feeling of Zen, the marrow of Zen. But those who find great difficulties in practicing Zen will find more meaning in it. So I think that sometimes the best horse may be the worst horse, and the worst horse can be the best one. So I was having a conversation with a student, I was a senior student in the dojo yesterday, maybe the day before, and we were talking about getting older in our practice and how it becomes more difficult to try to be the best student in class, which is, you know, kind of the person who's throwing the best techniques and the fastest techniques and all those good things, versus being the person who's showing up and being in practice. And what Shinryo is pointing to is that the person who's showing up to practice is the best horse, because they're here and they're practicing. And it doesn't necessarily matter if you're doing the techniques perfectly or not. Of course, you're doing your best to do the techniques as well as you can, but it's not necessary for Zazen practice. It's not necessary for our practice to be able to do those techniques perfectly. What's necessary is that you show up for practice and that you're here and doing your best. Okay? So that allows, I think, a lot of compassion to be present in your life for yourself and for those around you. And it's a great gift to be able to be present to, is somebody showing up? Am I showing up? And when I'm showing up, am I doing the best that I can at any one moment in time? And it's a great question to be asking yourself. And it's also a great question to be asking yourself, am I doing that from the point of view of ego, where I'm trying to be the best horse, or am I doing it from the point of the worst horse trying to be my best? So there's that whole, it's very convoluted, and sometimes it's hard to know which one you're doing, and maybe you can't know which one you're doing. Maybe even just by thinking about it, you're actually trying to be the best horse in the sense of the one is the one that runs easily without the whip and with no difficulties. But then perhaps by being just present to your practice and present to what is here and now, you can allow yourself to sink into that experience of what's going on around you and for you right here and right now, and to allow yourself to put yourself in the best position that you can. And if you're practicing a good guard, you know, for you, maybe you've got a shoulder injury and you can't lift your hand up right now. So maybe your guard's like this. And that's what it is. It's the best guard that you have right now. Maybe you don't have a shoulder injury and your guard's here. Maybe you're super like fancy and you've like got this different type of guard. I don't know what it is, but and you're really fast, so you can do all sorts of fancy things with your hands. I like to keep my hands here because I'm not very fast. So given your limitations, given yourself, given whichever horse you are in this process of life, in this process of our practice and process of what's going on for you out in the world as well, how are you? Are you the best horse in terms of the one that does things very easily? Are you the worst horse, one that needs a lot of help to get along the way? A lot of nudges and a lot of adjustments and a lot of, you know, figuring out how to do things. Do you have to work really hard to make things work for you? It's a really great question for yourself. And probably we're all really a mix of those things. There's some things that we do really well and some things that we struggle with. And how can you be with both parts of that? How can you be okay with being good at some things and really being terrible at some other things? And if you come back to the here and now and being with the practice and being with the I'm being with who I am as the foundation of your life, I'm being with who I am right now and the best way that I know how to be. Coming back to that and coming to life with humbleness around that allows you to really travel places, I think. It allows you to accept feedback. It allows you to be given feedback. It allows you to be in a space where you can develop and you can accept the whipping from life as you move forwards into your practice and life moving forwards. So as we think about that practice of being right here, right now, and the practice of showing up, and the practice of being with our situation, being with our life right now, being with our practice right now, we can take that into our sitting, we can take it into our meditation, and allow ourselves to just truly be with ourselves, be with our breath, and allow that to inform us for the rest of our lives. So we're going to take a moment right now, we're going to sit and do a meditation. So find yourself a good place to sit, spine straight, chin parallels the floor, eyes upturned, looking towards the point between your eyebrows, the third eye. Let go of any worries, cares, or concerns. Focus on your breath and be here now.